I will speak reluctantly of the 80th chapter of the Tao Te Ching. It's very difficult to translate because the language used, the methodology used, was open for so much interpretation, not very accurate. But the gist of the 80th chapter of the Tao Te Ching goes like this. Let countries be made smaller, with smaller populations. Let there be weapons of war, and let people know how to fight. But let the weapons of war remain unused, and people's fighting skills also unused. Let there be boats and carriages for traveling, but let these also remain unused. Let people be quite content with their simple food, their simple clothes, their simple houses. Let them be so content with their simple routines, happy with their simple life, that there is never a desire to emigrate. Let the villages be small, and let people grow up in their village and grow old and die. And during their life, they might hear the barking of a dog from a neighboring village, perhaps a mile away. And yet, in their whole life, let them never go to the neighboring village to see what life is like amongst the people where that particular barking dog lived. A world-renowned teacher of meditation was asked the following question: Master, how should we treat other people? Should we treat them with compassion? Should we treat them with justice? Should we be indifferent? How should we treat other people? The Master replied, there are no others. What an answer! The question becomes one posed by an unenlightened mind. There are no others. Just like Jesus said, one of the greatest commandments, love God with all your heart and mind and strength and soul, and your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as if you were one with your neighbor, one being, united, no separation. How is it possible to be so content with ourselves, our simple lives, that we hear a distant dog barking and we're not curious to go and see what the people are like in that village? How is it possible that our minds would be at peace and enjoy themselves, enjoy itself so much that we were quite content to stay in our simple routines, in our simple houses, and meals and clothes and friendships and routines? There's only one way, and that is if we become one with all things. The barking dog is us. We are the barking dog. There's no need to go and check it out because it is part of us. We already know. And this attainment of becoming one with all things, of course, is the goal of Tai Chi. You become one with the opponent. If my opponent doesn't move, then I don't move. But if my opponent moves, I move first. There is a profound identification with subject and object, with fighter and opponent. We can understand, even read the mind of our opponent. So if it's necessary to move, we move first. Becoming satisfied with our simple food and simple clothes and simple houses means that we have attained the goal of Tai Chi, which is to become content with the present moment. As we move, we are content with the motion. We're not trying to accomplish anything, not trying to impress anyone. We're simply training ourselves to be in the present moment. How about this? From the Samurai Warrior Code. I have no friends. I make my mind my friend. In our friendships, are we often not afraid of losing them? And insincerity lies amidst those emotions. But if we abandon inferior definitions of friendship and replace it instead with a superior idea of I make my mind my friend, we shouldn't mistake this for saying any old thing I do, any old obnoxious behavior, any old disrespectful behavior is okay because it's me and I'm doing it, therefore it's okay. No, the proverb has to deal with uncovering a treasure, a hidden treasure inside, and that is the charmed quality of a person whose mind becomes deeply concentrated at one with the universe. There's a real bliss that occurs when the mind trains itself to abandon everything that is not in the present moment. When what is seen is what is sought. When what it is that we are looking at, what it is that we are perceiving, when that becomes the answer